Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our very first session for Financial Planning and Control, FPC 7 for short. Welcome, everyone. All right, before I introduce myself and get to talk about today's lesson, may we get confirmation from any participant on whether you can see my screen and hear my voice. Please, someone to confirm. You can put a chat or you can unmute yourself and confirm.
I can see it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. Thank you so much, Heinrich. I really appreciate the confirmation. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You doing financial planning and control with Mr. P for short. I prefer Mr. P other than my real full name. All right. I've been just going through the participants as they were joining in. It would appear I remember a couple of names from financial reporting and analysis, which is the module that I tutor some of you. I think the first module in your courses. Right. Today's session, ladies and gentlemen, is not going to be necessarily a lesson. It's just type of a thing where you get to know the tutor, you get to know his philosophy, his approach, and then you try to reconcile that with your very needs. As a student registered at third year level, you've got academic needs to say, look, this is the gap that I have, and I need someone to support me. So we are in such a session. It's not necessarily the really lesson, so to speak. Now, let's start off with what we here for, right? I'll keep on admitting people. Apparently, some of my controls on Zoom are not disabled, so I'll have to keep on admitting people. All right, so let's start off with the objectives, ladies and gentlemen. What is it that we want to achieve at the end of this session? Like I'm saying, it's gonna be short, crisp, and to the point, maybe just an hour, then we are done. Our sessions are normal 2 hours. I assume I'm going to have you guys aboard and we are moving together for this module. The sessions are going to be 2 hours, but for tonight, like I'm indicating, just to get to know your tutor, maybe before we get to the subject matter itself, a brief outline about my background, academic side of it. I do have, those of you who I tutored before, you know me, I do have quite a number of tertiary education level qualifications, and the highest that I do hold is an NQF level 9, which is a master's in accounting sciences measuring taxation. All right, my first degree I did with the University of Pretoria. My master's I did it with UNISA, and I'm still studying. I'm hoping before long I'll be adding one more. So you guys, you are doing a module that is pegged at level 7. So if you are to look for a tutor, the first things first, you need to look for a tutor who is at level 8, which is an honors. You can't have a tutor who is having a simple degree tutoring someone who is studying a degree at NQ level 7. So I think you are safe. I do hold the NQ level 9. So I think I'm 2 steps away from you guys. So I do have the best view of your subject. All right, now let's get to the subject matter itself, the objectives first. Now, this is what I intend to have us achieving at the end of this session. One, we shall outline the roadmap and the subject overview. In other words, we need to put together the syllabus and say, these are the topics that we're gonna do together. And I want you guys to have this overview, this overarching view of the whole subject, and which you're going to have by the end of this session. And we shall also identify the main goal of financial management. This is very, very important, because when people get to hear financial planning and control, they think it's something out of the ordinary. Just but simple. They're still talking about financial management, which you already have got an introduction. All right. Okay, I'll keep on admitting people. All right, let me admit this one. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we shall talk about the roadmap. We shall allude to the goal of financial management. And we shall also refer to the case study and summative assessment preps. You will notice that for you to be certificated or to be credited, remember your module has got about credits that at your degree, you need to achieve marks when it comes to your case study. I guess you already received it and you're already working on that. So we have got a way of helping our students prepare for that. As a professional at my level, ladies and gentlemen, I do not give answers for case studies. That's very unprofessional. But what I normally do is to look at the case study and I design something that is almost similar to the case study so that I can then teach you the principles around the case study, which you then can go on to apply as individuals. So from get-go, guys, can I just be very clear to you? I'm not a fly-by-night individual. I do not cheat. I'm a professional. I belong to a number of professional bodies. I'm a site member, South African Institute of Tax Practitioners. I'm registered with other professional bodies. And one of the things that we are trained on is the issue of ethics. So it would be very unethical for me to give you answers for the case study. But what I will do, which is professionally permissible, is to design something that looks like your case study, and then we discuss it together so that you can go on to answer your own. And then all the time, so to speak, when we do this, my presentations will be so full of questions that are extracted from your summative assessments. And your summative assessments, ladies and gentlemen, is the final paper. I rarely do simple things. I prefer having to use the question papers as examples. So let's say, for example, we're doing unit number 1. I will take a question after having taught you the principles that comes from a question paper, and then we do that. So by so doing, it gives you a gauge as to the standard and level of the exam that you guys are going to be writing. So we shall concentrate more on past papers. That's your summative assessment. And we shall also explain key concepts. You see, in any subject that you do, the gateway into it is you understanding the principles. And these principles are normally disguised as concepts. You will notice in your introductory unit, which is unit 1 on your module guide, there is a part where they explain to you key concepts relating to financial management as well as the finance function. So we need to know those terms. When we have completed this module together, there will be some takeaways. Most of you'll coach your language in a manner that you'll be talking more like a financial manager. If you get to a boardroom, people may identify you as part of them, not as a novice, because there are tools that will equip you with, which begins with the language. All right. This subject it comes with some nomenclature, some terminology, and we need to use that so that we are more acquainted to it. And then the next thing that we'll also discuss tonight are the goals of financial management. So we shall talk to that a bit as part of our introduction, and then we shall also allow people to pose some clarity-seeking questions or even contributions, and then we'll wind up the session. So that's basically the objectives for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I guess we do have 4 or 5 participants tonight who have been tutored by me in the previous years, and the majority of them were not fair because they went on to pass with distinctions. I would have loved them to fail so that they keep on coming back to me. But anyway, here they are tonight at another level, which is more interesting. All right. All right, so that's your objective there, ladies and gentlemen. But maybe before we get to go deeper, let's take people to the roadmap. In other words, what constitutes this module? What are the things that we'll do together that will enable you to answer questions for the case study and questions in your summative assessment? Well, I just been going through your case study. It's just a giveaway. It's very, very easy. 2 questions there and 2 principles there. But this is your subject, financial planning, and control, FPC7 for short. And if you look at that, it comes at NQF 7. I do not tutor anything NQF level 9 or 10 because that will be cheating. You can't have a master's and teach students where at a master's, you can only assist them. So you guys, I'm comfortable with you. You are some 2 ranks from where I am, which gives me that bed view. So please feel safe and enjoy doing this with me. Now, the first unit in this module, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have had the time to scan through the module, you'll appreciate is financial management. And in that particular area, they introduce you to key concepts. So we shall learn about what financial management is all about. And like I indicated, they will also avail to the terminology. All right, I see someone in the chat there, thank you. All right. Oh, Lisle, oh, I remember there was a Lisle, I can't remember if it was you or not. The case that looks easy, I'll put it that way. All right. Oh yeah, don't worry, Lisle. We will make sure that after a certain lesson, when you go back to look at that paper, you will have this aha experience to say, so this is how easy it is. I like the fact that you find it a bit difficult, which makes me a bit relevant. Otherwise, if it was going to be simple, you guys won't be here. So there's that whipping process that comes through the case studies. So, but we'll make it very easy for you. So unit number 1, ladies and gentlemen, just your key concepts there. And then if you go further into your module guide, you'll notice that the next unit is going to be financial projection. Now, when people get to your projection, it sounds a bit condensed, a bit difficult, but we shall water that down to a level of NQ level 7. It simply means you are looking forward using figures, like making a forecast, like making a budget. So we shall talk about that. And you shall be introduced quite a number of techniques that we use in financial planning to make projections. It's one interesting topic that we shall do, and it is found in unit number 2. And then once we are done that, we shall talk of management of working capital. And I love that particular area because for every business, ladies and gentlemen, working capital is the lifeblood of every business. Otherwise, if you don't have enough working capital, any business will ground into a paralysis. You find quite a number of businesses are going down and down to an extent of being under. Like if you look at ESCOM, for example, which is a parastatal, they're talking of being cash strapped. Why? Because there's a lot that is not going right. And you would want to say, in as much as we will need an engineer to be a CEO, but somewhere at a certain level, we need someone with business acumen who would understand the management of cash flow. It needs someone who is prudent. And in this module, ladies and gentlemen, we shall prepare you. We don't want to prepare you only for the exam. We want you to take a certain skill and be able to apply it on a day-to-day living, especially in entrepreneurial, in your entrepreneurial adventure. If you decide to open a business, take this as a skill and apply it there. So we shall get to teach you the skills you require to manage your working capital. And at that point, we shall explain to you what constitutes working capital. We shall do 2 approaches to it. First, we shall define it in a layman's language. And then secondly, we shall get the technical definition as exposed in your module guide, where we shall tell you that working capital is nothing other than the difference between your current assets and your current liabilities. So once you know that working capital is made up of current assets and current liabilities, then we will be managing each concept, each component. We shall look, for example, at inventory. How do we handle inventory? We shall look at debtors, and your module calls them trade and other receivables. So we do have control measures we apply for each of those components of working capital. And you can even get a question in an examination where you'll be asked, how do you manage your trade and other receivables? So, ladies and gentlemen, that will be unit number 3, management of working capital. Very interesting topic indeed, and you'll love it if we are to do it together. And then the next one is your CapEx, what you loosely refer to as capital expenditure decisions. Now, when it comes to capital expenditure decisions, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about investment. And when we are making investment decisions, there are tools at our disposal as financial managers. For example, you may need to calculate the cash flow patterns of every project you want to invest in. And we have got different tools. We've got what are called non-discounting methods and a discounting method. For example, your payback period, you can have your accounting rate of return. You can have all those methods put together, which are referred to them as the capital expenditure decisions, where we are saying to ourselves, if you had 2 projects, how do you decide which one of those do you choose? So we'll look at the profiles, the cash flow profiles using those techniques, which I just outlined there. And then in unit number 5, ladies and gentlemen, we shall look at financing decisions, sources, and costs. This module is about how do we manage resources, financial resources. If we are to manage them, where do we get them? And what influences our decisions for us to choose a particular form of financier? Are we getting this loan from a bank? Are we getting it from an additional investor? And for us to arrive at that decision, we shall look at costs and cost benefit analysis. So we shall look at that in unit number 5. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the last 2 units will refer to financial analysis and budgets. I do love financial analysis because it takes us back to the subject we did in our very first year, which we refer to as FRA 05, Financial Reporting Analysis. And this part refers to ratios. There are quite a number of ratios that we use to analyze the financial position of an entity. And those ratios will come in unit number 6 of your module guide. And the last module unit, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be your budgets. And we shall address different type of budgets. And they really love this part because they link it up with the preparation of the pro forma financial statement. So unit number 7 is always there in your past papers. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the outline of your syllabus. I call it the roadmap because we need to take one step after the other until we are done. So that's your syllabus. When you go into your module guide, you'll find these are the different topics that you find in each unity. All right. All right, just 1 minute. I think I need to reduce the volume of my TV. Thank you. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. All right, so I was just saying to you guys, this is our syllabus. All right, so it's very short indeed, but it requires quite a lot of experience, especially when it comes to calculating your issues around your inventory, which is part of your working capital, issues around doing the pro forma financial statements. All right. All right, sorry there. I can hear someone say, is the screen blank? Right, please, ladies and gentlemen, let's have someone confirming if the screen tabo, right, says no. Maybe what you need to do, Ken, is to log off and come back once again, right? Just leave and come back. I think it will then show on your screen. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right, from get-go, guys, maybe it's something that we also need to outline, which I'll keep on emphasizing that I'm a very patient professional. There is no one when it comes to my classes who asks a question that I feel is not supposed to ask. So if there's something that you feel you need to ask, please feel free to do so. And be patient with yourself. Sometimes certain things you won't understand them, you'll understand them when you repeat them. So feel patient as well. And others will ask questions that you already know. Feel patient as well, because together that's how we learn. We've got different views of things. So we need to accommodate each other as much as possible. I prefer people who ask questions, and I really love them. Whether it's you can't hear the audio wall, you can see the screen, there's a question and something wasn't explained well, always feel free. All right. Okay.
Excuse me,
yes.
sir.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. I hope you'll love me for asking these questions. Hi,
everybody. I really like that, LBS. I really appreciate that. Yes.
So I do understand it, but from your point, can you sort of explain properly what the difference is between financial reporting analysis and the financial planning control? I know the name says it. Both names already are explaining, but from your side, what's the real difference though between the two?
All right, thank you so much, LBS, for that beautiful question. I love tonight's session. It's more of a teaser, and a teaser is meant to leave people with those questions and get them to be answered in a proper session. But I will get to answer that question now that we've asked it. In our proper session, which we are going to have, the first thing that we will do is to define the subject matter. We are studying financial planning and control. And as a tutor, you'd want your students to know what they are studying. And it all begins with breaking down that very phrase you are alluding to, where we shall look at financial planning, and after that, we look at control. Those of you who have studied management, for example, you find this module is borrowing quite a lot from Cronje. Cronje is one of the best authors around here in South Africa for management. When we talk about management functions, we break that down into different functions. You do have what is called planning, we do have what is called control, we do have what is called organization, and so on and so forth. And when we look at those functions, we just pick the two of them, and we've got planning and we've got control. So in our next session, when we meet, ladies and gentlemen, we shall explain to you what planning is all about and why it is important to properly plan in a business setup. And in particular, we shall have a flavor of financial planning. Planning is general, but when we restrict it to finance, we refer to that as financial planning, and we shall explain what financial planning is all about. And then beyond that, we shall also talk of control. So an interesting aspect in the function in running a business. And we shall explain to you why financial control is very, very important. Because you can't plan properly if you don't put in place control measures. Otherwise, that is why if you look at what happens around the government, we've got so many projects that are not succeeding because there's no control and there's a lot of corruption. So control eliminates that. And planning, if I were to just give a layman's definition, is like putting together your plan around finance. But we shall refine that and attune it to your module guide, and properly there will be some slides when we do present that will talk to that. LBS, thank you so much for that question. I know I've not answered it. I just get it around it because I wanted to defer to the lesson proper. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much, Monzi. Yes, thank you so much. All right. I do get that explanation too. All right. Now, the target groups here, guys, for this session. Okay. We haven't yet gone into the real subject matter. Like I've already told you guys, if someone is tutoring you and they've got a master's, I think, and you are studying level 7, I think you might give them the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, look, this guy must be coming loaded, and well, you'll have to tell as we proceed anyway. But I think that's one thing that you can get out of your mind to say, look, he does know what he's talking about. All right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. All right. But let me just get to talk to the people I want in these sessions for this particular module. These are the people that I would expect to tutor. And if you are not one of these individuals, maybe I've left you out, or maybe you're in the wrong place. Is someone who is doing a bachelor's of business administration with main course, and someone who is doing a Bachelor of Commerce in Supply Chain Management, and someone who is doing a Bachelor of Commerce in Retail Management, as well as someone who is doing a Bachelor of Commerce in International Business. So if you are enrolled in one of those degree programs, then this module is yours. And the name of the module is Financial Planning and Control, right? It's FPC 7 for short. 7 is the level, which is your NQ level 7, as given by SACA, right? And then you must be in your 3rd year, all right. And then lastly, it must be your January 2023 semester 1 intake, right? So I guess you're one of these individuals, all right. So that's the target group for this session, which we are going to have, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Now, the prescribed textbook, I'm not going to go through this. You already know about it. I'll provide you a soft copy at some point. I do have one, the current one, not the 2008. I just extracted this from your module guide. They're saying this is the latest edition of the text that is available, but I saw the more latest one, which is 2010. So we shall get to share this. And when we share this, guys, remember the author has got copyrights. And it is very important that we become ethical about how we do our things. I'm sharing it with you. I'll be sharing it with you because you belong to this academic group. And I'm not going to be selling it to you, because when I do that, it will be for pecuniary reasons and it will be violating someone's work. I'm only allowed to share this with you in this manner because you are in the group that I'm tutoring. And please, we are not going to encourage you to photocopy it. We're not going to encourage you to transmit in any other way except sharing it as part of this group, because that is not allowed. All right. Okay. Right. So I usually say to my students, when someone says to me, do I really need the book? And I always say to me, if you're going to have me, don't worry about the book. That's one thing for certain. If you're going to stick with my lessons, please don't worry about the book. But if you won't have me, then after we share with you, you can have it and disappear. And then there are a host of other recommended textbooks. I saw a forest there, and they're even taking things from management like Kronya and stuff like that. I don't know why they didn't put Stone there. So those are some of the things that you will need there to study this. But if you have me, I am enough. All right. This is my philosophy. I'm glad that some people were here before. They know me quite well. I always emphasize that I'm a fan of Stephen Covey. I read quite a lot of his books, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the 8 Habits, and Great People, and so on and so forth. One of the things that I take from him is when he speaks to begin with the end in mind. Guys, you don't have enough time to be studying like a student who is in class. Most of you are adults here, you are coming from work, you are tired. There are quite a lot of competing things for your attention, and you don't want someone to be wasting a lot of time. So you need someone who will teach something that will come in the exam and teach you how to answer an exam. So that's why I always say, begin with the end in mind. So for each and every session that we'll do, you'll find that it will link up to the exam as well as provide you with a life skill. There is no session we shall do together that I'm not going to take a question from a past paper and get to have us talking to it. Because that to me is what I call begin with the end in mind. You can't say, let's do this thing, and when we are done, we shall go back to revising question. It can't be. It doesn't work that way. You are adults, you don't have time. We need to get to the point, cut the chase, and get you for the exams, but at the same time, provide you with enough life skills around the subject matter. So our first thing that will emphasize are the final summative assessment, and they are online. So final online summative assessment, we shall do them, and they are, if you happen to be from another university, you find yourself here, we would want to say to you, you are here for supplementary purposes in terms of enriching yourself, but we may not address the specifics around your assessment. So if there's someone from UNISA, from the University of Pretoria, UCT, Rhodes University, and so forth, please, I'm not going to be held responsible for not addressing the specifics of your question papers. I will restrict most of my presentation and answering techniques to many COSA students, where we shall talk of low-hanging fruits for each and every question that you'll have. And there are also quick wins around certain issues in handling financial statements, especially the pro forma one. And we shall address those things. Low-hanging fruits, quick wins from many COSA papers. And talking of that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll give you an appetizer of the things that are to come. And this is an extract from the 2 December 2020 paper. This paper was written in on the 2nd of 2020. And I just want to have you looking at it, and then we'll go beyond that. Right, this was the paper which was written in that particular year. And if you look at it, this one is question number 1. And this question number 1, ladies and gentlemen, had quite a lot of marks there, 20 marks, right? It says required, use the information provided below to prepare the pro forma statement of comprehensive income. I almost picked a question that had the pro forma statement of financial position, but I thought it would be too soon to talk about it as if we are waylaying the case study, because the case study speaks to a pro forma statement of financial position. There will be time for that. And ladies and gentlemen, do not get confused. This is not a session. We are just giving you teasers, just to show you what things will be like. We are yet to go into the depth, before we are saying to ourselves, we are now going to unit number 1. Unit number 1 is about this, and we go step by step. And I always prefer baby steps before running. Tonight, we are just giving an appetizer to everyone so that you get to know me. All right. So this was the question, and the information was given here. And the budget statement of comprehensive income of ROIB Enterprises for the year ended 30 June 2021 is as follows. So this is what they gave you, straightforward there. And then from that, ladies and gentlemen, all right, they required you to also look at this additional information, all right. Okay, so this is what we are going to break down together. Let's assume we have already covered this topic. We shall come here and say additional information. We analyze that, we call it adjustment. Those of you who are not into accounting, this is what we refer to as an adjustment, the first one there. So we shall break it down so that we get to make you understand how you put it into the answer when you're answering this question. And then we shall go to that one, we shall go to that one, and we shall go to that one as well. I'm glad there are people who did FRA with me. And then all these shall be done. And when we are done with that, we shall then get to this part. If you look at the question, it didn't have this, but we will insert this for you as we study together, so that from that question, which requires us to do the pro forma statement of comprehensive income, you'll notice that it says, with each month having its monetary column. So you've got July and August, so these two columns there. And then we'll calculate your sales and put for July and put for August. And we'll go to the cost of sales, and then we'll calculate your gross profit and so on and so forth. And when we do this for the first time, some of you have never done this module before. You have never done it FRA maybe. You find it a bit challenging, but by the time we do this, I'm sure we would have given you enough lessons to prepare for this type of question. All right. Now let's briefly get to look at the subject matter. I didn't want to go into this for tonight, but I'll just do a teaser there, a bit of it, and talk about financial management and control and introduction. And maybe before I get to that point, let me pause a bit, guys, and allow people to ask any question about, I want people to understand the person who provides the service. And every time someone claims to provide a service to you, before you even want to consume the service, interrogate the person, get to know the profile of that individual. If you don't have access to it, get to have them presenting in the manner I'm doing and fire questions from all cylinders and make an informed decision thereafter. So I'll pause a bit, ladies and gentlemen, and allow you to ask questions. I'm at your disposal. Any questions around what we'll be doing together? All right, before I proceed. Anyone with a question, guys? Any question? Don't be afraid. Okay. All right, there's a question there in the chat. Thank you so much. Is this going to be a group sessions? All right, my approach is, because if you look at the degrees that you guys are doing, the majority of you don't have that background in accounting. Maybe someone might have done it at high school, maybe at grade 12 level. There, some people never even did it, which is fine. So what I normally do, I teach with understanding. I'll do the presentations for all the units that we have, and then I will then allow group sessions wherein we are going to take, say, a question from a past paper, and then we do the group sessions where people will present, and then like in the past, what I normally will do, after people get to be more comfortable around my style, someone will say, okay, we've got question number 2, which we are going to be doing in our next session. Can I get time to look at it? And then we allow you to present to the group, maybe in a group format, and then we discuss together. I'm always going to be there to assist people. It has worked that way. But because we have so much pressed of time, we want to complete this before you guys write the exams. The group sessions will be a bit limited. We won't come here and break you into group sessions using Zoom. We only do that in what I refer to as the final push. Just maybe 3 sessions or 2 sessions before your final exams. I've got a special session that I always offer my students, which is called the final push. It's centered around the examinations, where after doing that session, when you get into the examination paper, you always get that feeling that maybe you have seen the paper before, because we would have prepared you so much. And to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, this to me it's a very easy module, interesting as well. If I tutor people at third year, I don't see any reason why any one of you can fail, because you already have got the basics from these other different modules. All right. So we shall limit that. Yes, then for how much will this cost? All right. The issue for the administration side, the cost and stuff like that, please, you talk to Mr. S on his WhatsApp group. That's the guy who does that part. I just do this as a pastime. I just enjoy passing on this information to students, and as you will see in this time we'll be together, you won't even know me, you won't even have my phone number. I always want it that way, because I'm a very busy man. I run around quite a lot of things. So Mr. S asked me over the years to assist him in this thing, and I grew up to enjoy it. And I'm even fading to leave, because at times it does take my time. But at times getting to have students passing, and then you see them posting to say, look, I got this, and it makes me happy. So Denver, please talk to Mr. S through the WhatsApp group about the issues of cost and so on and so forth. You will be able to assist you. All right. And all I can assure you is that I will get you guys getting distinctions. And I always say to my students, those of you who were with me, remember I said to you guys, you will regret the day you chose not to start accounting, because you were made to think that it's difficult. After my sessions, you always got this feeling that, you see, maybe I was mistaught. I should have done accounting more than anything else, because it is simple. So we make it very easy for you, easy to understand, baby steps. I know someone sitting there right now says to themselves, will I be able to follow through this guy? He seems to be so pitched so high. I can assure you, we have got those people skills. We will go to every level, because I believe every good tutor must make every subject matter easy, for as long as they know how to explain it to the students or participants. All right. Okay, I see Mr. S there is already there. He has put the number. I'm glad he's around. It would really help us there to answer some of the questions. All right. What is more important, guys, is that we do this module, you pass it. And I don't want people to repeat, because it actually reflects badly on me as well. So that's why I go all out to assist my students. You won't get shortchanged. Maybe if you've never had someone who is professional, you'll be shocked, because I'm too professional. That's my weakness, that when it's time to have a lesson, we'll have the lesson. And when it's time for me to give you what I refer to as the final push, which is more like a bonus sessions over and above everything that would have done, I always get to give my students that, where I prepare them for the exam sessions themselves. We will do that. All right. Okay, any other questions, guys? Feel free. How many times a week do these classes take place? All right. For the other modules that I have, because I do have taxation 2A, I do have FRA. I think some of you remember, we used to have 2 sessions per day. And when I did talk to Mr. S, who does the administration side of things, he says for a subject to fit in his timetable, it must be able to break even. So I'm sure when his numbers are enough, he is going to allocate 2 days a week. But if numbers are not permitting, that's when he's forced to allocate 1 session. All right, so Mr. S will communicate that before long. But what we normally do is to ensure that we do everything and prepare everyone for the exams. Like you saw from get-go, we begin with the end in mind. All our sessions will be taking you to the examination. We don't want a situation whereby you are taught and then you wonder, why was I in this session? How will it assist me? That's why you saw even tonight, before we even learn, there's a paper I'm already talking to, that paper of the 2020 paper, to say this is our style. After doing that topic, would be going to question number 1. All right. Please feel free to shoot more questions, ask more questions, and we will also do this. I'm glad Mr. S is here listening, because we need to be very professional, Mr. S. Let's do this on a first come first serve basis. Let's limit our numbers. If numbers grows beyond a certain level, we should cut that, because too many students at times, it also disturbs the rhythm. We want to give you attention. So if we have got enough number that breaks even, so the smaller the group, if we can get about 40 students, that's fine. More than that is fine, I know, but at times it makes students not be free to ask questions, because I want to give individualized attention. I want someone to say, look, we did this yesterday, I didn't understand. How do I go about it? And we need to work around that until that individual understands. So I don't think any number above 100 is workable. Maybe 50, thereabout is fine. So Mr. S, I think you are there. This is my favorite module. I want to do justice to it. So if we can limit our numbers, let's not exceed 100 students. That will be too much. All right. Now let's have any other questions, and then I give you a few things, then we call it a night, and then we wait for the proper sessions. LBS asked a very good question to say, can you define those two? Yes, we shall, in the proper lessons themselves. All right. Anyone with a question, guys? All right. And I know a lot of you will say, I want someone who will assist me with the case study. I think I've already indicated that we shall design something like that looks like a case study, but we shall not do the case study that comes from your university. That's very unethical. I will design something that almost looks like what you are given. Work through that as a prototype, which you then can apply the principle on when you're answering the case study. But you are free to say, when we are doing in our sessions, when we get to something that almost relates to your case study, you are free to ask a question, then I'll respond. But I can't sit down and answer it for you and give you the answer. That's not fair. If you come here and say, okay, tonight we are talking payback period, which is part 2 of our case study. How do I answer this one? And you pitch the question here, then I can answer it for you without having to write it down and give it to you to go and copy. No, that is not okay. All right, so you are free to ask around it, but I will never, ever write down for students. All right. And other questions, ladies and gentlemen, feel free, please. Mr. S, if you're still there, can you shoot any question that you want? Do the devil's advocates. So maybe they are still afraid of asking questions. So please, if there's anything you can ask, you can do that. You know, with me, you can ask any question. I have no restrictions. I still there, Mr. S? Oh, it's all good. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Now, a bit of subject matter, guys. We shall get to have a proper introduction, though. But just taking a few precepts from your module guide, they talk to the introduction of your subject. I will refine this because I feel it's a bit lacking. I'll put something that will be more interesting. But from your module guides, they want you to understand that there is a development when it comes to your subject. And there's a way that they used to look at it, and there's now a way we are looking at it. Then, which means historically, financial management entailed accurate recording, preparation of financial statements, and managing cash. So look at how limited financial management was perceived by that particular period of time. It was all about accurate record keeping, preparation of financial statements, and managing cash. So that's what financial management was historically. And you'll notice as we start, ladies and gentlemen, that when it comes to financial planning and control, your module guys do use it interchangeably with just financial management. After we have defined those concepts, you'll be able to see why financial planning and control is just but financial management. So what is financial management? Historically, this is what it was. You just keep your accurate record, you prepare your financial statement, and you manage cash. Now, you'll remember from an accounting point of view, when you talk of record keeping, we're simply talking about bookkeeping. So at some point, financial management was just about bookkeeping, and then preparation of financial statements, which is reporting, and then managing cash. So that is what it was. But it has since developed and grown. Now, financial management deals with the amount of capital employed by the firm. So this is the first very important thing. When we're talking of financial management, we are dealing with the amount of capital employed by the firm. Maybe this word employed does make it a bit difficult to understand. When we talk of employed, we're talking of used, capital used by the firm. So that's the first thing in this financial management. It deals with capital used by the firm. And secondly, it also looks at the allocation of funds for various projects and activities. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have got capital, the next thing that you need to do is talk of the application of that capital. And that's what we call allocation of funds for various projects and activities. And once you get to understand that we have got competing projects from your economics, you'll notice that for as long as we do have limited resources, then we should have a way of allocating those resources. And that's when we are going to talk of unit number 3, when we are going to be learning about capital and appraisal methods, your payback periods, your accounting rate of return, and so on and so forth. So what is financial management, ladies and gentlemen? Capital employed by the firm, the allocation of funds for various projects, and the measurement of the results of each allocation. I see a forest of words there, but in simple language, financial management is all about capital, how we use that capital, and how we measure the outcome on that application of capital. So financial management, ladies and gentlemen, has got 3 components as we studied today. The first component is for you to understand the capital of the business. And we call that capital employed. We shall talk more about that. And then once you know the capital employed or capital used, you then ask yourself, on which areas was it used? On which projects was it used? So we call that allocation of funds to various projects. And then lastly, we shall then measure the outcome from those projects, because when you invest, you expect a return. And that return must justify your investment. And we do that through measurement of results of each allocation. It is at this point where I feel Menkosa could have taken it a bit higher than what they've defined here. I feel they're shying away from moving with the trends now in finance, because as long as we still talking about source and allocation of funds, they are actually denying you guys an opportunity to know IAS 7, which is cash flows. When we talk of source and allocation of funds or application of funds, it is the old version of what we have now. But anyway, that's another lesson of another day. We shall talk about that at some point. But for now, guys, I want you to understand that as we start this lesson or this subject, all we will be doing is to identify the capital that has been used by a company, and then how was it used, and the outcome from that use. And we refer to that as financial management. I deliberately took this from the module guide as it is, so that next time when we start afresh and we really do the proper lesson, I come with my own definition, then you will be able to see how the two links up. and that will give you in-depth understanding. All right. Now, there's this author that they love so much that they call Cronje. All right, Cronje et al., meaning Cronje and others. Quite a number of people who wrote that textbook for management. You notice that when we start financial management, Cronje argues or contends that it is responsible for efficient management of all facets of financial function. What is it that we are doing when we talk financial management? We are trying to ensure efficient management of all components of the financial function. At some point, when we are doing a lesson proper, we shall explain to you what constitutes the management function. Maybe we should break it down from the management functions, where you're going to see financial function, you're going to see the marketing function, you're going to see all those functions that makes up an organization. And then from those, we shall extract our focus, which is going to be financial function. So in this module, we shall concentrate on that facet of a business. A business is made up of quite a number of angles. And if a business was an orange, that part of the orange that we'll be concentrating on will be referred to as the financial function. And what are we trying to do there? We are trying to instill a sense of efficiency. So once we say there is a need for efficiency in that function, the question that will be answered by this module guide are the tools that we'll put in place to ensure efficiency in this function, which is called finance. All right, I'll leave this part for the next session. But maybe let's just get to talk about the purpose of financial management in general. Now, if you look at businesses, ladies and gentlemen, they are not meant for charity. They've got objectives. One of the objectives of every entity, especially at corporate level, is to maximize shareholder wealth. I love their choice of words because it brings me closer to the boardroom. This is the first time I feel like Menkosa is doing the right thing, because at some point when I do the other modules, you feel like they're deliberately watering them down to a point of letting them go down to an extent of being under. But this one here, the purpose of financial management, guys, number one is maximization of shareholder wealth. All businesses have got owners. If we talk of a sole trader, the owner is a sole proprietor. If we talk of partnership firms, the owners are partners. If we talk of a close corporation, the owners are called members. But when we talk of companies, whether it's private or public limited companies, the owners are called shareholders. And these are part owners who have invested with a view for profit. So now, you will need to understand at some point that the structure of a company is such that there are owners and employees who run the company on behalf of the owners. And a team that is responsible for running the company is called a board of directors. They serve as stewards. They are serving on the behest of shareholders. And at some point, the owners will need to check whether the return they get justifies the investment. So the directors are always under pressure to ensure that the shareholders get enough return. And that speaks to maximization of shareholder wealth. When you buy shares in a company, that's not decorative purpose. You do so because you want to increase your wealth. And you can only stick to that company if it justifies why you should put your investment there. That's very, very important. Otherwise, capital is very footloose. capital has got a tendency of moving from areas where it is not paid well to areas where it is paid more. When people realize that this company is not paying them enough dividends, they can disinvest from that company and invest somewhere where they'll get a higher return. So when we start financial management, we want to equip our managers with that skill that ensures that they maximize shareholders' wealth, which is shareholders' return. And then the second purpose of financial management is efficient financial analysis, reporting, planning, and control. When you are at the end of a financial period, you need to analyze so that you can make informed decisions. And when you do that analysis, we refer to that as financial analysis. And then there should also be reporting. For you to be able to do the financial analysis, there should be reports, which we refer to them in accounting as financial statements. And once you have done the analysis, you then can get to plan. We shall talk about what we mean by planning. I think LBS asked us to explain what do you mean by financial planning. And then once you have done the planning, then we should also do control. Remember, guys, a plan must have an outcome. It must lead you to an outcome. And if you don't control your steps towards Ladies and gentlemen, my sincere apologies. Oh yeah, there we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll say my apologies for this hitch. My UPS failed me. I hoped it was going to just kick in as soon as I started to get this load shedding thing, but it actually failed me. So let's just allow this period now to questions. Anyone with a question, guys, feel free to ask question, and we call it a night. And then Mr. S will then put together the timetable, and in our next session, we are doing the unit number 1. On that particular unit, I'm hoping to answer the questions: what is financial planning? What is financial control? And then what are things that we should carry even in our day-to-day lives as skills? And then once we have done that, we shall also have a question that comes from a past paper. I intend to ensure that I move towards even some things that are in the case study, so that you guys will be able to submit it without any hitch. I can assure you that after 1 or 2 sessions, you will be in a position to answer that question with a lot of ease. All right. Now let's just take questions here, and then we close the session. All right. Anyone with a question, please feel free. Any question that has to do with the academic side of things, please, you can shoot. But if you have got a question that has to do with the administration side, like for example, when will the lesson start? What are the payments? Please talk to Mr. S. And I would also suggest you guys try to arrange with him as quickly as possible, so that we don't have too many students and you end up not being accepted. I always have got that feeling that if we are too many, you end up not giving people attention. But if we can get around 40, 50 thereabout, I think it's acceptable. All right. All right. Any questions, guys? Maybe as you're still looking for questions, I'll give people time to ask about 3 or 4 questions, then we close the session. Can I just see through the charts? Those of you who have done FRA with me, if there are any, right? Will we get paperwork on a weekly basis, like questions and answers? Excellent. Yes. What the other thing which I also forgot, guys, to mention is that all our sessions are recorded. And when we record these sessions, we then post them as soon as the session ends on a Google Drive, where you'll get a link. Let us assume, for example, for certain reasons, you find yourself not being able to be in our sessions, then you can catch up on your own by listening to that that video. We also, these, which I call worksheets, you will notice that we will having these answer books like the one that I'm showing on your screen. So where we'll be doing our rough work there and putting the answers there. We'll also post this one together with the question paper that would have revised. That too shall be posted. so that you can also go through during your spare time. And I assume during your spare time, as you are doing catch up, you get to meet something which you don't understand. In our next session, you are free, you're at liberty to come and say, I've been trying this, but I didn't understand. Would you care to go over it? And we shall do that very gladly. All right. Let's see, there are some questions there. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, yes, Claudine. I remember you thing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. Oh yes, thanks so much. Okay. All right. See, there's someone who did FRA with me there. They were a very good class. I remember. I really loved the group. When they were about to write the examinations, I couldn't let them go and write because I kept on saying, guys, let's do this other final push, because I really enjoyed working with them. They were a wonderful group. Okay. Right. Any other questions, guys? Feel free to ask that question, and then we call it quiz. And remember, guys, this was not a lesson. This is not a lesson. My lessons are different, and they're really packed, and you learn quite a lot. This was just getting to know each other and getting to having an overview of what we'll be doing, and my philosophy, which I've outlined to you, that we always begin things with the end in mind. Everything that we do must address a question that you'll meet in the examination. Otherwise, if it's not like that, then we're wasting our time. We can't come and give stories which won't come in the exam. That's not fair. Right. All right. Okay. So, any other person with a question, please feel free, because we are about to end this session. All right. Another question? Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of tonight's session. Like I said, it was not a lesson. It was a get to know each other type of a thing. Our next session, Mr. S will communicate. I love this module and I want to hit the ground running. I want to urge him to timetable as soon as possible, so that we, okay, let's see, there's someone there. Might not have understood everything here, but the concept and everything, the possibility and low-hanging fruits helped. Okay, thank you so much, LBS, as well there. Okay, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. You see, those of you who have never had lessons with me, at least you get some people here in the group who have had some lessons previously with me. All right. Okay. Right, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's meet in our next session. It should be communicated before long by Mr. S. I will ensure that we do it as soon as possible, because I want us to have this done before your summative assessment, and I want people to pass. And I guess this is the last time I'll be talking to you, because you are already on your 3rd years there. Except if you study an honors where you need my services, then we may also help you. Thank you so much, Claudette. I really appreciate that. Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. We hope we will meet. I see Wongi, Denver, LBS, Lisiba, Lihle, Lindani, Tsaulwayo, Lols, iPhone, Men, Govenda, Miranda, Mluleki, Mahabo. I think I remember the name. I can't remember. When Lusizo, Nonsansa Kuboni. Thank you so much for coming to this session, guys. There's Venishri Govenda Slee there. All right, let's hope we will be meeting in our next session, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, it's a very good night. Please, for anything that has to do with administration, if you want to join this group, please make sure you talk to Mr. S. All right, can I see this? There's some questions there. Some questions there. Let me see there. Right. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Mahabo. Wongi, I say, can one listen to the recording joined now? Oh yes, Wongi. Mr. S will upload this on Google Drive, as well as put one on our channel on YouTube. Our intros are always there. And you can also Google up for some more of our sessions in other subject areas so that you get to know this person. Maybe when we have done 3 or 4 sessions together, I will give you my full names, guys, so that you can Google me up and get to know me. But that always comes as a last resort. Right, thank you there, Lindani, Nolisizo, thank you, Lisha, thank you, Gode, thank you. Right, A007133, thank you as well, Non-Sata Kuboni, thank you guys, appreciate. Otherwise, enjoy your night. Let's meet in our next session. We are now done. Okay.